Welcome to Outside the Music Box. I'm Chloe Prendergast.
And I'm Emma Williams. We're so glad you've joined us today.
We're both violinists based in the Netherlands and have created this podcast in our search to find fun new ways to share and talk about music we love. Today, we have a special bonus episode where we tell you how we figured out PayPal and therefore how easy it is for you to give us money, and also we answer your questions.
So, as you probably have guessed, making this podcast takes a whole lot of time, effort, and money to produce. And in order to help make this sustainable, we would love for you to consider donating.
We created Music Box in order to help break down barriers surrounding conventional classical music concerts. It started as a concert series in The Hague in the Netherlands and now is obviously also a podcast. We believe that classical music should be accessible to everyone, so for our concert series, every concert is pay as you feel. We ask our audiences to pay whatever they feel the concert was worth to them in relation to what they have, which apparently is called value for value in the podcast world. We want to keep this model here on the podcast, so donating doesn't give you any extra goodies, but it does help keep the podcast going for everyone to enjoy.
So, here's all the fun information. We now have a PayPal account where you can donate directly.
Whee!
Yay! It works for every type of currency anywhere in the world. You just have to have a PayPal account, which is super easy to create. And we've linked this in the show notes, but you can just type paypal.me/musicboxconcerts into your browser and you'll be on the donate page. Choose your currency and the amount you want to donate, click donate, and sign in or register for an account.
It's really quick and easy.
Yay! And you can leave us a note telling us if you want to be thanked or you just left anonymous. We haven't really figured out yet if you can make a subscribe option. So if you want to donate monthly, we'd love that. But we don't know how that works yet, so yes.
If anyone does know how to do this, please let us know, because we so far haven't figured that out.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so money talk finished. Now let's have a look at some of the interesting questions people have sent in.
Yay! First of all, thank you everybody for sending in questions.
Yeah, they were super interesting.
Super interesting. We're gonna do our best to answer them, and yeah,
we'll try. It's nice.
This is a new thing for us. We realize that now we've gotten used to how we do our normal episodes.
Yeah. We ask other people questions.
And now
we're being asked questions.
And now, yeah, it feels different.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll try.
Okay, dear.
So lots of people have asked us what the opening music is from each of the start of our episodes, and we actually are playing on it.
Yes, we are. We recorded this piece in early 2019. It's on an album called Silk Baroque with Holland Baroque, and a really excellent Chinese sheng player named Wu Wei. We highly recommend the whole album. You should check it out. We'll link it in the show notes.
It's on Spotify. You can order it by going to the Holland Baroque website.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what a Chinese sheng is, it's this amazing, I think 3,000-year-old Chinese mouth organ. And it sounds incredibly amazing and beautiful and also looks really cool. So we would suggest
it's exactly what you think it is. It's an organ that you then blow into and you hold it in front of your face.
Yeah.
Just a mini organ. It's amazing.
There are a lot of pipes that go up from the, Anyway.
Wu Wei is amazing. So
he's really amazing. And
we'll link that, I guess.
A joy to collaborate with. But this track is called, it's weirdly been called a lot of different things because we've performed it a lot of times. But I think on this album it's called Silk Rondeau for Maite.
For Maite, yeah.
Yeah. And it was written by Judith Steenbrink. She's the twin sister of Tineke Steenbrink, who we interviewed on one of our earlier episodes. She also is co-artistic director of Holland Baroque. And we really love the piece. We think it's really beautiful. We felt like the vibe was right for our podcast. Yeah. And,
And we're playing on it.
Woo! It was a fun recording session.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Our next question came from Ruby, and she was wondering, after hearing our first episode about the Mozart Requiem, she was wondering about what a reconstruction is. We talk about Mozart Requiem having reconstructions, and would love to know what that is. So in general, a reconstruction is if there's a reason the piece wasn't finished, or doesn't have all of the parts complete, or we're missing some, like even if it was complete, but we don't, for some reason, some of those parts were lost, then somebody either now or sometime in the past will go through it, or has gone through and finished writing it so that it can be performed as a full piece.
Yeah. It's basically like looking at the Roman ruins and then recreating a whole city out of them.
So that you could actually live there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in music. All right, next. So we're still on the Mozart Requiem episode. We've got a question from Leah, and she was interested by the amount of times the Mozart Requiem has been used in commercial and pop culture, and she was sort of wondering, like, where has classical music been used in pop culture? There's a lot of classical music that's been used in lots of different things. I mean, in terms of Mozart's music, we just had a look at the IMDb page, and there's literally just all of the list of all of his music that's been used in, like, films and TV shows ever. So if you want to check that out, that's pretty fun. Lots of movies have some great classical music in it.
Totally.
The King's Speech has a really good bit at the end where the king is about to give his speech at the end. And they've got Schubert's... Is it from his Unfinished Symphony?
Can't remember. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah. But that's a good moment. And hilariously, we have been watching all of the main Avenger movies. I have to clarify that we didn't watch all of the Avenger movies.
This is how much we know about the Avengers, is because we were telling people, like, oh, we're making our way through all the Avengers movies, and everyone's like, oh my god, that's so many movies.
Yeah.
And we were like, it's only 4.
Yeah. So we watched the main group ones where they're all together in lockdown. And which one was it though? I can't remember which one it was.
The first one,
but
I think.
Yeah, and they had a bit of the Schubert Rosamunde string quartet, like, for a very long time while they were pulling this heist or something. And it was very intense.
Like in an opera
Yes.
In an opera house in Vienna.
I think, yeah, makes sense.
It was like a real string quartet playing. Those were real musicians, and that was cool to see also.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, yes, because that's one of our pet peeves.
Yes.
Seeing musicians in movies who just are faking it.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, but I guess there's lots of classical music all throughout the commercial and pop world. Yeah, so check it out.
Our next question is from Rosie, who was talking about the organ being such a grand instrument that can fill a space with sound on its own, and was wondering if Emma or I have played in a group that includes an organ, and wanted to know about what that experience was like.
We have played with organs many times.
Yes.
And I think the great thing is that there are different types of organs. So there's, like, really huge ones that are built within the church, like they're part of the structure of the church. So they're huge.
Yeah.
And I've sung a lot with those, actually, when I was singing in choirs for churches, and that's an amazing experience, singing with a huge organ in a big church with, like, amazing acoustics. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But then we also play a lot of, like, chamber music with these small organs that are...
Portative organs, we call them.
Yeah.
They're portable. They, like, are electric now. You plug them in. They're easily transportable.
Yeah. they're also great to play with.
They're also really nice.
Yeah, they create this kind of like warm bath of sound, I think. You feel like you're kind of just sitting on this really nice resonating sound when you play.
Yeah, so, the nice thing about an organ is that the sound continues. So it's unlike a harpsichord where the strings are plucked and then the sound dies.
Yeah.
So with an organ, you can really sink into that bath of sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it is always, of course, such a treat to be able to play with an organ in a church.
Yeah. It just fills the room. It's amazing. Yeah,
and it's fun to feel like you're a part of that sound.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to try so hard making your own sound good.
Yeah.
Because the organ helps you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, good question. We love organs. Check out Tinika's episode.
Woo! Yeah, and she talks about this specific organ that she grew up playing, and that I've played with her with that organ before in a group, and that was a really special, beautiful experience. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this next question comes from Jonica, who sent in some really lovely, sweet comments about how he's been feeling listening to these episodes, which really means a lot to us.
It really does mean a lot. It's so nice to have positive feedback.
Yeah, it's really nice because we create this thing and then we send it out into the world, and then we don't really know how people are feeling listening to it.
Also, because I guess we're so used to, we play concerts and we get immediate feedback.
That's true. Whether positive or negative.
Yeah, we at least know what's happening with the people that we're connecting with, whereas on the internet...
You don't know. Yeah, even if you're not getting... the immediate feedback is really just also seeing and feeling your audience and, looking at their faces when you finish or whatever, and that gives you a whole lot of feedback.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not seeing any of your faces, which is a bummer. Anyway...
So, really nice to get comments.
We got some very nice comments from Jonica. He really loved Julia's podcast about Biber, and she, in that podcast, talks about scordatura, which is a way of tuning the violin strings in different ways, and how that relates to the emotions of each piece. And so then Jonica was wondering what we do to keep the gut strings that we have on our instruments sounding sweet. And what the differences are between what we call modern violins and historical violins. Is it just the gut strings? What are the differences between the two?
Yeah, he just opened a whole can of worms there. So we're going to... lots of great questions. That's what we spend our lives doing. So, it does take a lot of our time.
Yeah, it does.
And energy, I would say, trying to make sure our instruments behave. Yeah.
Violins can be very temperamental.
Yeah.
The weather here just changed, and then my violin started sounding not great, so I need to take it into somebody to have it looked at. I think something might need to get adjusted or fixed, more than I can fix on my own.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess, sometimes when there's drastic changes, we have to get, a luthier, because they know what to do to fix things.
Yeah.
But day to day, I guess we just have to tune our strings all the time, because we're using gut strings. So, because, we're literally using strings made of the guts of cows and sheep.
Yeah.
Rather than metal.
Which is what modern violins use.
Yeah. So they're just, because they're literally organic beings, they do get affected like us, like humans.
They also break a lot more easily.
Yeah.
They break a lot, especially our E strings, our top string, because it's the thinnest.
Yeah. Yeah, that can be a hazard, actually.
Yeah,
I've had quite a few breaks where it's, either hit very close to the eye, or, I've had it scratch my eyelid before.
Ooh, yikes.
On the break, yeah. That was a bit painful.
That's scary.
That was just before a concert started as well. That was not a fun time.
That is not a fun time. I've definitely had it break and, like, give me a little welt on my face.
Yeah.
But it's never gotten close enough to my eyes so far.
Yep. So...
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that did, but...
Gut strings are annoying, but they sound really beautiful.
Yeah. How do we make them sweet, though?
How do we make them sweet? Practice. It's hard. I mean, also, like, what we're hearing under our ears doesn't sound like what is happening out there. Like, it often, it sounds scratchier right under my ear than it does out in a hall.
Playing in a church makes them sound sweet.
That's true. If you play in a bathroom, then it sounds sweet. No, I don't know. Also, I mean, it does depend on the weather, actually.
Yeah,
like, if there was a drastic weather change, the strings will stop sounding as sweet. It really takes a while to adjust. So now we have a series of questions about being a musician and, like, preparing music and what our lives look like. These come from Chelsea, Andrew, and Joellen. And so I'm just going to sort of combine all of these / read these questions in a row, and then I guess we'll just sort of talk about
that. They're all kind of related.
They're all kind of related. Yeah. So Chelsea was saying that what she thinks she's most captivated by in these conversations is our day-to-day. So she's wondering what practices look like if we're workshopping. She says, if you're workshopping a song, does everybody come together to practice, or just the folks in this section? How do you get good at a song so fast? Excellent question. Yeah. She wants to know sort of what a day in the life looks like. Andrew wants to know how we approach learning and playing a piece we've never played before, especially if it's a new work that no one's heard or played before, or I guess even if it's an old work that nobody's recorded or played.
Yeah.
He wants to know if there's a basic formula. And then Joellen was asking how we prepare for performances in the hours and minutes before going on stage, and what our concert day routine is.
Yeah, great questions. And there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
So I guess just, like, generally our day-to-day lives are pretty random.
Yeah.
We don't really do routine. Or we try to do routines that then change.
Yeah.
I guess. So for, like, a normal rehearsal day, so that would be, like, when we're learning a new set of pieces with people to prepare for a concert, we probably would have about 6 hours of rehearsal standard.
Definitely.
An orchestra.
Usually we have, like, 3 hours of rehearsal with breaks, and then like an hour-long lunch or dinner break, and then 3 more hours of rehearsal.
Yep.
And before that happens, we will have gotten the music ahead of time, and we will have practiced our own parts. We would have figured out, like, how does our part relate in the context of other people's parts.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of preparation that goes in ahead of time so that you come to the first rehearsal prepared with your own part.
Yeah. So that then you can work really effectively with everyone else in the group.
Yeah.
As quickly as possible, because, usually we'll only have, like, 2 or 3 days of rehearsal before a concert or a recording. So we all have to kind of work quite effectively. And I guess, so on those days, I mean, for me, I would usually do some sort of exercise, like running, yoga, like weird aerobic workshop in the park that I like to do. And do some, like, technical warm-ups with my instrument, so, like, scales and things like that, basically warming up my body but with my instrument as well. I guess that would be that. And then, often there's, like, at least an hour or 2 on a train to somewhere to get to the rehearsal.
I mean, this is also our lives in the Netherlands. Musicians' lives are different in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Like, obviously here we take trains.
Yeah.
We bike to a train station and then we take a train.
Or if we're lucky enough to be rehearsing in the city that we're living. We just
Ooh,
bike there.
And we just bike there.
Oh,
But
that's a luxury.
That is a luxury. Usually we bike to a train station, we take a train, and then we walk from the train station to where our rehearsal is.
Yep.
And it could be in any city.
Yeah, and then we rehearse together and eat together and usually then get a drink together as well afterwards if we have energy.
Yeah.
So that's like a sort of rehearsal day.
And how do you get good so fast? We
practice a lot.
I don't know. You get better at doing things quicker, I guess. Oh, and how do we approach learning a piece we've never played before?
It just depends if it's a new piece that is literally new, like a composer has just written it, and so then you don't have a recording of it, you don't have anything else to kind of copy, I guess, when you're preparing it. So you're really just looking at the score and seeing what you can find out from looking at it, or maybe if the composer's there, you can ask them, but yeah.
Yeah. And the more we play, the more we sort of know different musical languages.
Yeah.
And so then we can put in context where this musical language fits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we kind of know the languages of, Italy in the first half of the 18th century. And that kind of helps us know then, like, quickly how to decipher what the score says. So what's written on the page. Or if it's from France in that time, it'll actually mean something different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of use our collective historical knowledge, I guess, of different periods of music to help us quickly, like, identify what the notes mean for when we're, like, playing through it physically.
Yeah.
I guess.
And then we just also were like, this sounds good, let's do it this way.
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah. And I guess the day of a performance, some of that's similar to what Emma was just saying with rehearsals. For me, I would usually wake up and do some yoga. I do that most mornings. Slowly, like, have some breakfast. I sort of try and just get myself ready. I have as slow a start to the day as possible so I can conserve my energy.
Yeah, that's really important.
Because you have to be able to... That's the weird thing, is that we have to be at, like, our peak between, I don't know, usually like 8 and 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of figure out how to pace yourself to get ready. So on the day of a concert, I would get up, do some slow warm-up on my instrument, get food ready to take for the day, gather my
we
things.
Have a warm-up rehearsal.
Yeah, take the train, and then we have a warm-up rehearsal. I mean, so I'd probably have to leave by late morning. And then, take the train, and then have a warm-up rehearsal, and then a break where we eat some food.
But not too much food, because
you
don't want to perform on a really full stomach, because that is the worst.
You need, like, enough food to not have low blood sugar while you're performing and have, like, adrenaline coursing through your body. But not too much, and then, I don't know, for me, part of that routine is also, like, getting my concert clothes on, getting my makeup on, like, getting myself in the zone that way, and we sort of do that usually as a group. Backstage in the green room, and warming up on any last-minute things, and we'll go backstage and just sort of wait and...
Mill about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's who's listening has seen that TED Talk about power posing.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely often power pose right before I'm going to go on stage. Yeah. I definitely stand backstage and, like, do a lot of breathing and, like, power pose, and we make jokes and talk about stuff. Tune. Yeah. There's definitely the tuning.
A lot of tuning of
right before you go on stage.
Yeah. I like lying on the floor with my knees bent. For a while. I mean, I like doing that all the time, but especially before a concert, that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Kind of centers yourself, do a bit of breathing.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get in a specific kind of, like, pre-concert zone.
Yeah.
Where I'm, like, trying to keep myself both focused and, like, in the moment and relaxed and ready.
Yeah, it's, like, calmly energized.
Yes.
It's, like, energized but not too much, but then, it's a weird... combination of things.
I have a friend who said that she goes for achieving calm and versatile focus.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versatile focus, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, cool. But also sometimes hours and minutes before a performance can be not that. That's probably like best case scenario.
That's ideal scenario, yeah.
Because some performance days you either have travelled the night before and arrived wherever you're
That's true.
staying
super
late,
yeah.
and you're in this like foreign town and you have no idea what's going on, and then you wake up in the morning and you don't know whether you've got breakfast included in the hotel or not, and so then you have to go.
You don't know where you are. You don't know
where you are.
Super jet lagged.
Yeah, or whatever, and then you don't know how to get to the performance venue, and
true.
like so it can also be quite bad. Or you're traveling on the concert day as well, and you literally get to the hall and go straight into warm up and then concert. Like
yeah,
those
that definitely happens. Yeah.
But
or there's a travel delay, a train delay, and you're
Yeah.
not sure. I mean, that's why you always leave enough time that you're for sure going to make the concert. But
Yeah.
sometimes, like, you really occasionally we've missed whole rehearsals
Yeah.
because there have been
Train
unavoidable
delays or
train
whatever.
delays or whatever. Yeah.
So, you know, it's never a dull moment in our lives.
Anyway, that's what happens. Oh, and then after the concert, then we play a concert.
Yeah, so we do the concert.
And then-
usually it's good. Ha,
Yeah, usually it's great.
it's awesome.
And then afterwards, usually we will, if we have time, we stay and chat and have a drink with the audience and each other.
Yeah.
Have a nice chill and hang out together, and then take the train back home.
Yeah.
Get home super late at night, and feel both like really awake and energized, and also really, really tired.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to get to sleep straight away
Yeah.
after concerts. Yeah.
It's really hard.
Usually you have to, like, watch a crappy show on Netflix or, like, read
Do something
or,
to like
yeah,
calm yourself
something.
down before you can sleep. But it isn't. It is not abnormal to get home after 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And
It's actually easier when you're on tour and then you just go to the hotel
yeah, that's
close
true.
to wherever the concert venue is,
That's true.
I find.
It can be, yeah. Yeah, I know it's true. There's sort of a different tour routine as opposed to like when you're home
Yeah.
concert routine.
Yeah, it definitely depends. So, yeah.
Anyway, that was a long answer to your
That's- yeah.
question, and maybe was helpful, and who knows.
Cool. Next.
I think this is our last question. Oh, well, we have this one, and then we have a final question.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do this one, or do you want to do this one?
What is this again? Yeah. So this is from Joelle.
Joellen.
And she was listening to Tinika's episode, and also she watched a live stream of a recent recording done by Holland Baroque. And she is wondering about the communication between players without a conductor. So she said, all those seamless stops and starts, how is it kind of listening cultivated in the ensemble? And what does it feel like when it's all going well and when it's all going badly?
Very good questions.
Very good question.
We had to sort of think about this one and talk about it. I think we're going to still have to continue to talk and think about it.
Yeah, this is round 1 of answers.
Yeah. I think, the concrete answers that we can start with are that somebody is sort of a designated leader, and they are the one who's in charge of cueing the beginning of a piece or a movement or whatever we're starting. They're in charge of cueing us in, and they'll do that with a breath and a movement. Usually this is the concertmaster, the first violin, but not always. That's just because it's easier to see what's happening with their bow.
Yeah. And they're at the front.
And they're at the front, so everybody can see them. And so they'll breathe in a way that indicates both how fast you're playing and the mood that you're about to play in. So you get a lot of information from the way that that person, that leader, is breathing and leading you in. Yeah. And then everybody in the ensemble ideally breathes with them. And that is when it works well. If not everyone breathes together in the same way to start it, then it doesn't work. That's one way where things can go wrong.
And I guess that's what we try to work on in rehearsals often. We try to get the collective feel and groove settled in those rehearsals, so that then when the leader does that cue, which, you know, lasts not even a second, then everyone snaps into that mood and that speed of playing.
Yeah, you lock into it as fast as possible. Yeah. And also, it's that when that happens, everybody is hearing what the piece is going to sound like before you start. Yeah. So you have it in your head already. You have it, the whole piece, and then also how your part fits into it before you've started, ideally.
Yeah. Which, I mean, when it's going well, it's hard to really know if it's going to go well or not, because it depends on the personalities of the people playing and also how well you know them. Like, it helps so much if you know the people really well and you've been playing together for a long time, because you can just read them much quicker.
You know how they do certain things, you know how they play.
But then, like, there's some people where you will literally just meet them and straight away you'll click. I mean, it's just like any kind of relationship with anyone, friendship or whatever. You know, some people you just click with straight away and then it's super easy to communicate with them. And then some people, you can't really communicate with them no matter how long you've known them.
And you don't really know why that is.
Don't know why.
You don't know why that happens.
Yeah. So
it's the same musically. Yep. Yeah. And sometimes we talk about, well, I don't know if we talk about in rehearsal, like, hey, I just don't understand you. That we don't really talk about.
Yeah.
But
sometimes we say it in a more subtle way than that.
That's true. That is true.
I'm not exactly sure how clear your sound is. Could you please
You make no sense to me. But anyway, sometimes we talk about any of these things. We talk about what kind of a mood we're going for. We're talking about the tempo or groove. We talk about who's sort of, whose part is in charge of propelling that. Mm-hmm. So we talk about that in rehearsals often, but not always. Sometimes it doesn't need to be talked about. Sometimes it needs to be like figured out. Sometimes we have to try a lot of different things because we're not exactly sure what's going to work best.
Yeah, it really depends on the moment and the people, like the combination of people involved.
And the things you're playing. And sometimes it's super easy to do, and sometimes it's really complicated. And
and now we've got one final question for this episode, and it comes from Rosie again, and she has a great question. She said, Emma, Chloe, what piece with another instrument are you jealous of?
She's asking our normal ending question back at us. Of course she is.
So hard.
Smart to ask us the question we ask everybody. I mean, there's a reason we haven't answered it yet. It's because it's a hard question.
There's so many. I mean, I guess so we've talked already that we both love viola da gamba.
Yes.
So we love anything by any composer that writes for that instrument. And so hard. I think we talked also about bassoon parts in early French operas with Dominic in his episode, and I stand by that. I think I'm very jealous of that. I wish I could be a bassoonist.
And we've talked, I think this was one of Kati's pieces that she's jealous of, but the Brahms second piano concerto. I just am totally in love with that piece, and I really wish that I could play the piano well enough to play that piece.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many awesome pieces, and we could probably keep rattling off many forever.
You know what? We'll just answer this question again next time, and maybe we'll have different answers.
Yeah, it'll probably change. It does change all the time. Well, I guess that's all the questions. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks so much to everyone who wrote in to ask questions.
Yeah, please keep doing that. We'll do more of these episodes if it's interesting for you. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. Also, if you can, consider donating. We have a really great friend, Joanna Neuschatz, who does an amazing job with editing our audio each episode, and we would really like to pay her as well.
Yeah, so just recapping on our PayPal thing, you can go to paypal.me/musicboxconcerts, and it's super easy to just donate whatever currency, whatever amount you want. And you can either leave your name or leave it anonymous, and we'll either thank you or we won't. Well, it's up to you.
We'll thank
really
you in our
appreciated.
hearts,
Yeah,
even
we'll
if we don't
just-
thank you out loud.
In our souls. Thank you all the time.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Outside the music box.